Chapter 1067. Today we're going to be talking about it, Punk Records. And that's a pretty fitting title considering everything we learned or everything that's revealed about Vegapunk's powers and, may I say, his dream. So today we learned Vegapunk's Devil Fruit. I mentioned this in the beginning because it basically sets up a lot about the rest that we learn about Vegapunk's dream, his plans, and everything that he's done so far and how he was able to do it. And it's pretty cool. He basically has the no me, no me, no me, which left Vegapunk tongue-tied, but pretty easy, honestly. It shouldn't leave anybody tongue-tied. He's pretty smart. He should be able to say it. But it's basically the brain fruit, or I would even call it the memory fruit. It allows him to memorize vast amounts of things, which is why he was able to memorize all of the Ohara library and use it to great effect. It also is the reason why his brain got so big and it continued to grow, so he had to cut it out, which is why he is looking the way he looked in this last chapter and the chapter we see now. I'm really liking his design, honestly. He really is a really well put together character. If you just look at him, you kind of get it. I mean, of course, he looks like Albert Einstein. Einstein is synonymous with genius at this point in our culture, in our society, even just around the world. He even just looks like that famous photo of Albert Einstein with his tongue hanging out. It's just great. And then, of course, he has the apple on top of his head or over his head as the antenna, and that allows him to access his brain, which he has cut off and left, looks like in some kind of like server capacity in the top part of the egg, and that makes Egghead Island much more of a fitting name because the egg, the top part of the egg anyway, is essentially his head. It, houses his brain, and it's a pretty cool way to go about thinking about this island. Also, you call someone an egghead, normally they're a brainy person, which actually that doesn't make sense. An egghead, I guess maybe just because it's shaped like an egg. I'm rambling. Anywho, this is a great chapter because it revealed quite a bit, set up a lot of what we're going to see in the future. It also left some questions. Number one, Vegapunk revealed that there was some ancient kingdom power source for that giant robot that attacked Mary Joie that he does not know how to replicate. Now, could it be Cola? Now, as far as power sources that are revealed in the One Piece world, we haven't seen much. I mean, the Cola power source just seems to be some kind of really wacky way of seeing steam power because it uses the bubbles. It's very silly. But we also see Lindbergh using some kind of combustion power, so there could be a combustion engine, but I don't think that would last the time of what, 700 years, 900 years, or I guess it's died at 700 years, but 700 years to power a giant robot, that is not really realistic or feasible. What they haven't revealed is fusion power, which probably could stand the test of time, or nuclear fusion, some kind of nuclear reactor. I'm not a physicist, so don't ask me. But what would be fitting with the theme of the new dawn coming could be solar power in some capacity. Maybe there's a way to replicate some kind of photosynthesis, and just because like maybe the robot was undersea in the dark depths of the sea and it wasn't getting any sunlight, but somehow the sun tree activated it, and then that's when it climbed up the red line, which is right above this where the sun tree is, and then attacked Mary Joie. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. The second question that we are asking ourselves at the end of this is what Vegapunk is going to leave for Bonnie. What does he have to give her? The only thing I could think of is some kind of either device to break Kuma out of his state that he's in right now of being brainwashed basically, but it's probably something more simple of just like maybe a dial that has an explanation of why Kuma decided to do what he did, or maybe some kind of video feed snail that we haven't seen yet that records video and show a video or hologram of him consenting to the procedure that Vegapunk was going to do to him and explaining why he was going to do it. I hope so. That would be a really cool way to reveal that question that we all have. Why did Kuma do this? The third question that this chapter leaves us with is what CP0 was using Bonnie for. They said, we are done with her. We have no more use for her. What were they using her for? I immediately thought, oh, they're just following her to Vegapunk, but they have Seraphim they have to have access to this island. There's no way they don't know if he's working with them. They have to have access with him. And this CP0, they would make it their mission to make sure they knew where everybody was within the organization. You would assume, but the world government is fucking idiots sometimes. They're very inept, and I wouldn't put it past them to just drop the ball on this kind of thing. But there has to be another reason. It could be just let her go wild on Egghead Island. Hence, they allowed her to kind of get capsized, to jump into the sea, and then they assumed she would get saved by Vegapunk. Like, I don't know. This doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're gonna have to wait to find out what happened to Bonnie previously that allowed her to be used by CP0 and at what capacity they were using her. Another thing we learned in this chapter is the incompetence, or another thing that we continue to learn is the incompetence of the world government. 200 years ago, a giant robot attacks Merijois, and they allow the scientists, or tell the scientists, to destroy it, but fail to follow up with this destruction and allow these scientists to just hide this technology away for 200 years, passing it down the line until we get to the current time. That is just negligence at the highest order. Fools. Like, I'm not going to get too much into details about how the world government fails and is incompetent and has allowed this chaotic world to come about, but because I'm going to make a video about it one day. But trust me, they are idiots. This is just silliness. There's no reason why they couldn't have just assigned somebody, hey, make sure those scientists destroy that. I want proof, I want evidence that this thing is destroyed. They just allowed it to exist. That's a huge threat. And now Vegapunk, as a result, is aware of this technology, has access to at least study it, not to mention all of the Ohara, books. Come on, nobody went back on the island to just check to make sure all the books were gone. Just incompetence. Anyway, we're gonna get on to what I'm talking about. But as a result of their incompetence, Vegapunk is basically one of their biggest threats. If his dream, which I alluded to earlier, was allowed to be fulfilled, where he could give everybody in the world access to his records, his brain, which is what's going on with his 6 Vegapunks and his antenna, that would be over for the government. They would know everything instantly, and they would have access to any information that they ever wanted, which is a huge threat. The world government has been working hard to make sure that they cut out all of the knowledge that they don't want out there. They really work hard to control. I don't know if they work that hard to control the knowledge, but they do work at some capacity to control the knowledge. They definitely don't want that information to get out to the populace. So if Vegapunk succeeds in his dream to let everybody have access to his brain, that's it for the world government. Just that right there. He is a huge threat, and they're using him, or they think they're using him. But at the end of the day, they may not have access to him anymore, as he's asked Luffy to take him with him, which is what I said they would do last week. That's another thing that I feel like every time Luffy is in a situation, you have to think about what would be the worst possible thing for him to do to the world government. And in this situation, we're taking Vegapunk with him. That would be the worst thing that Luffy could do in that situation for the world government. I mean, he's already a massive threat. Vegapunk's a huge threat. There's just no way that that's not happening. So I feel like Rob Lucci, which I want to talk about a little bit, coming in is not a threat at all to Luffy. There's no way. There's no way that at this point in the story, Luffy is being threatened by Rob Lucci, who he defeated pre-time skip, before he got Haki, before he really understood his Devil Fruit powers, and he's now Gear 5. I mean, basically a god. There is no way that the crew is in any danger from Rob Lucci, even though Usopp and Nami seem to act like there's some kind of threat. There's no way. I'm pretty sure Nami might be able to take him out with Zeus. Zeus would probably be able to just annihilate that ship before Luffy. Well, he probably could. They can't all Geppo their way onto the island if they wanted to. Anywho, they're definitely not a threat. So I think it's just really a device to push them off of this island. So they want to take him. Vegapunk is in danger from Lucci, so they need to escape with Lucci intact. Or I'm sorry, they need to escape with Vegapunk intact, and that is the device that they've used to create the urgency to get Vegapunk off this island. That's just my thoughts. I'm sure Lucci is not going to actually clash with Luffy at all. Now, at the end of the chapter, we see the Kamabaka Kingdom, and we see Kuma getting his repairs. Lindbergh is working on him. Dragon and Ivankov is there, and everybody's there, but Kuma all of a sudden gets up and just bolts. He's trying to get out of there. We don't know why. They're asking him, hey, what's going on? Why are you going? You're not done with your repairs? And he falls because he's not done with his repairs. It looks like he's strapped down to some other kind of equipment too. Everybody's just on board with him. They're like, where you need to go, we're gonna go wherever you need to go. So this is setting up not a reunion, I guess, maybe a reunion for Bonnie and Kuma, but I'm assuming he's trying to go and get to Bonnie because maybe she's in danger. Maybe he senses. Maybe there's some kind of signal that Vegapunk threw out there. Maybe there's a piece of Vegapunk's brain inside Kuma as well. And that's probably why he lost his own personality. I don't know. I'm not going to get crazy into the theories or what I'm thinking. But now all of a sudden he's trying to bolt it, trying to get to where Bonnie is. Or at least go to defend Vegapunk, who has now realized that he is under threat. So I'm sure if everybody is now on the course to go to where Luffy and Bonnie is, I'm sure they won't be there by the time they get there. So I'm not anticipating a next few chapters. Plus they're on the other side of the world. I'm not expecting that in the next few chapters we're going to see a connection or a meeting of Luffy and Dragon, but it is coming. It's coming soon. Probably on Elbaf after everything is said and done on Egghead Island. So yeah, this has been a fantastic chapter. I'm really enjoying all of the setup, all of the lore dumps. Like, this has really been like, what, nothing but like 10 chapters of just exposition and explaining and getting all these questions knocked out. And honestly, if the rest of the, up until the final battle, I would be satisfied if you just explained the rest of this world for me and then just did this giant battle, as long as it set up, the pieces for the battle really well. I can't wait. I also can't wait to see the results of what happened with Law and Blackbeard. Like, that's got to be the first thing we see in the next chapter, which we won't see until not next week, but the week after. Next week is Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's why they're on a break, but that's convenient for us because I wasn't going to be doing a video next week anyway. So I'll be seeing you in December. If you want to be there for that video, subscribe, like this video, comment down below, let me know what you think about the chapter, and I'd just love to chat with you guys. Have a great day.